Hey everyone and welcome. In this video we're going to be learning how to use the touch sensor. There's a couple of different ways that we can use it. We can either use it as a button or we can use it to detect when our robot has bumped into a wall. I'll be showing you both ways in which we can use it. Once again, my name's Trevor, let's get to it. We can either use the sensor to start our program or to start an action, or to interrupt and stop an action. First things first, we want to open up a new program. Name it something recognizable. The block that allows us to use the sensor is the wait block, and it's found under the orange tab within flow control. This wait block has many different functions. The first way I'm going to program it is like a button. So we're going to wait until the button is pressed and then our program's going to run. So in this case, what we're saying to our robot is wait for a certain input and then continue with the program. We need to change the wait block because the default is time, but we don't just want to wait for 1 second, we want to wait for a touch sensor to be pressed. So we're going to go down here to touch sensor, we're going to compare a state. You can see our block has changed to this. That very first option is the state of the block, and this is referring to the different ways in which we can use the touch sensor. If we click on it, you can see 3 different options. The very first one is released, the second one is pressed, and the third one is bumped. For this quick example, I'm just going to drive my robot straight for 1 rotation to see what each of them does. When I choose the first option, released, you can see that when I run my program, the button is already released, so it doesn't wait for anything from the touch sensor, it just drives forward. I would have to start the program with my finger on the button pressed already for this state to be effective. I would then release my finger and my program would run. When I choose the second option, you can see that when I run the program, as soon as I press the button, the program runs. So my finger can get in the way and make the robot run skew. That's why I prefer to use the third option, which is bumped. And here you can see that I have to press and release the button before my robot moves. That is how we use the touch sensor to start or begin a sequence of code. Now we're going to move on to how to stop or interrupt a sequence. So back in the program here, you can see that the touch sensor comes before the motion we want our robot to complete. When I say that I want my touch sensor to interrupt the program or sequence, the actual settings of the sequence can't have a predetermined length or duration, because I want the touch sensor to be the thing that stops it. So if you have a look here, my touch sensor comes first, we can leave that in to start the program. What I am going to change is my move steering block. Currently it's set to on for rotations. That means after 1 rotation it's going to stop, but I want to change that, and I'm going to change it to on. What this does is it takes away the distance. So now all that happens is my robot's going to turn on, go straight at a power of 50 for an undetermined amount of time. When I set the block like this, the program always looks to the next block for instruction. Because there's nothing here, my program would not run. But if I drag in another wait block, what this is now is it'll turn on and wait for 1 second and then finish the program. I'm going to change that again to a touch sensor. This time I'm going to leave it on pressed, the default setting. So what my program says now is when I push the touch sensor, my robot will turn on for an undetermined amount of time. Then when it bumps into something, it should stop, which as we can see is exactly what happens. And then what we could do from here is add on a couple of extra blocks to carry on with the program. So before, when the touch sensor was at the end of the sequence, that was how we ended the program. But now it just serves as an interruption to the program so it can continue with the rest of the program. You can fiddle around with these as much as you like. And don't forget, you can always go through the video again if you feel the need to. But that's all for this one, so see you on the next one.